Good morning, boys and girls. Myself, Dr. Amish Chandra. I'll be taking thyroid and antithyroid drugs. Part 1 and Part 2 will be taken by Dr. Sridhar Rosa. So, before we go into the thyroid hormones and its details, let us discuss briefly. Let us discuss briefly about thyroid gland, its location, and its histology. The thyroid gland is one of the largest endocrine glands in the body. It weighs nearly 15 to 25 grams in adults. So it consists of two lobes which are joined together by a narrow isthmus and is located on either side of the trachea below the larynx. It receives high blood supply, nearly 400 to 600 ml per 100 grams per minute. So as I told you, it has got two lobes on either side of the trachea joined together by an isthmus. So this is the isthmus and is located on the trachea below the larynx. So it weighs nearly 15-25 grams, and as I've told you, it has got two lobes and it receives high blood supply. That's 400 to 600 ml per 100 grams per minute. Histologically, each lobe of the thyroid gland is divided into various lobules by fibrous tissue called as septa. Each lobule is made up of an aggregation of several follicles, and each follicle is lined by follicular cells. So these cells are responsible for synthesis and secretion of thyroid hormones, namely T3 and T4. Apart from this, there is also another hormone which is secreted by parafollicular cells, otherwise called as C cells, which secrete calcitonin, which helps in the metabolism of calcium. So this is a histological picture of thyroid gland. These are follicles. These are follicular cells. These synthesize and secrete thyroid hormone. This is thyroid globulin, and these are parafollicular cells. If at all you want to score more marks, you need to write about the anatomy of thyroid gland and the histological features of this thyroid gland. Thyroid hormone. The thyroid gland is located in the neck in front of the trachea, as I've told you before. So this gland manufactures mainly two hormones, T3 as well as T4, that is thyroxine as well as triiodothyronine. Thyroid hormone. Iodine is an essential element for the manufacture of both of these hormones. The activity of thyroid gland is regulated by thyroid stimulating hormone produced by the antrophysium. So, in general, the activity of the thyroid gland is regulated by thyroid stimulating hormone. Whenever there is decrease in levels of T3, T4, thyroid stimulating hormone stimulates the gland to produce T3 and T4. And this T3, T4, whenever they are high or the levels of T3 or T4 are more, or there is rise in T3, 4 levels, this causes inhibition of TSH. So this is called as negative feedback mechanism, which we'll discuss in our next slide. The hormones secreted by thyroid gland are namely T4 as well as triiodothyronine and calcitonin. The C cells of thyroid secrete calcitonin regulating calcium metabolism, which regulate calcium metabolism. So the hormones secreted by thyroid gland are T4 and T3 as well as calcitonin. The C cells of the thyroid gland secrete calcitonin, which regulates calcium metabolism. So what happens when there is deficiency of these thyroid hormones? So they mainly cause cretinism in children and pediatric age group, and in adults they cause myxedema. So whenever there is hypersecretion of these hormones, it results in a condition called as thyrotoxicosis, which has got effect on various organ systems. So hypersecretion of these hormones results in a condition called as thyrotoxicosis or thyroid storm, which is a medical emergency. The drugs which are used for treating these conditions are hyperthyroidism are called as antithyroid drugs, which will be dealt by Dr. Sridhar Rao in the next class. So, synthesis of thyroid hormones. So, there are mainly 5 steps involved in the synthesis of thyroid hormones, namely iodine trapping. So, what happens here is there is trapping of ions into the follicular cells, upon which the trapped ion undergoes oxidation and iodination, and then there will be coupling of these iodine forming T3 and T4, and they are stored and released, upon which they are converted. T4 is converted to T3. So as you can see in this picture, this is tapping, step 1, and then they undergo, this is step 2. So in step 1, the thyroid selectively traps the plasma iodine, and this iodine undergoes iodination, which is carried out by an enzyme called thyroid peroxidase to form MIT as well as DIT. So this one is in the third step. There is coupling. So one MIT plus one DIT forms T3. One DIT plus one more DIT forms T4. So DIT is diiodotyrosine and MIT is monoiodotyrosine. And in the fourth step, there is hormone release. So what happens here is the thyroid gland, which contains T4 and T3, are stored in the thyroid follicular lumen. It is reabsorbed by thyroid follicular cells by endocytes. Under the influence of TSH, protease acts on the intercellular thyroid globulin to release T4, T3 as well as MIT and DT. So here, this is a step. Thyroid hormone synthesis. So iodine trapping, there is active transport of iodide ions into the follicular cells of thyroid gland, known as iodine trapping. So here, iodine ions are actively trapped inside thyroid gland. So after this, there is the next stage called as oxidation as well as iodination. The iodide ion is oxidized to iodine by peroxidase enzyme. So iodine combines with thyroxine residues of thyroglobulin and forms monoiodotyrosine as well as diiodotyrosine. Coupling. This is the final step in the synthesis of thyroid hormones. Two molecules of DIT couple to form thyroxine, and one molecule of MIT with one molecule of DIT forms triiodothyronine. So you can see here, one MIT plus one DIT forms T3, that is triiodothyronine. One DIT plus one more DIT forms thyroxine, that is T4. Of these two hormones, T3 is more potent as much compared to T4. The hormone release of thyroid hormone mainly takes place under the control of TSH, peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. Most of the hormone released from thyroid is T4, which is less potent than T3. Conversion of T4 to T3 in the periphery is inhibited by propyl thiouracil, propranolol, hyaluronic acid as well as glucocorticoids. So these antithyroid drugs will be dealt in the next lecture by Dr. Sridhar Rao. T4 has 4 iodine atoms. So removal of one produces T3. So the one which is left, that iodine enters the thyroid gland and is used up for T3 and T4 production. So this cycle goes on and go on. Hormones which are released from the thyroid and vast majority are protein bound and deposited in peripheral cells. Plasma protein binding. 70 to 75% of the thyroxine hormones or thyroid hormones are bound to TBG. This thyroxine binding globulin. And 20% they bind to thyroxine binding pre-albumin, and 12 to 15% bind to thyroxine binding albumin. So synthesis of thyroid hormones is regulated by TSH, secreted by antral pituitary, which is in turn inhibited by pre-thyroid hormone. So Whenever there is a fall in T4 and T3 levels, this stimulates TSH secretion from anterior pituitary, while a rise in T4 or T3 levels inhibit TSH secretion. This is otherwise called as negative feedback mechanism. So the negative feedback by the thyroid hormones is exercised directly on the pituitary as well as through hypothalamus. So let us see the difference between T3 and T4. So T3 is formed by one DIT plus one MIT, whereas T4 is formed by one DIT plus one DIT. T3, as I've told you, it is more potent and has got rapid onset of action, whereas T4, it is slower. T3 has got short duration of action, whereas T4 has got long duration of action. T3 is more potent, T4 is less potent. But both the hormones are used in the treatment of myxedema coma mechanism of action. So T3 and T4 enter the cell wall, wherein T4 is converted to T3. The thus formed T3 combines with nuclear receptors, and there is activation of different genes, resulting in the synthesis of various proteins, and you have diverse effects. Pharmacological action. So they facilitate normal growth as well as development. So they are mainly useful in the development of bones, teeth development, and they are also useful in the development of growth as well as maturation. Apart from this, they have a role in tissue differentiation as well as maturation. And they also have a role in development of nervous tissue. They increase basal metabolic rates. So they in general stimulate the metabolic activities and increase the basal rate of oxygen consumption and heat production. They increase cellular metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins as well as lipids. They increase use of glucose and fatty acids for ATP production. Apart from this, they also cause lipolysis, wherein there is increased cholesterol excretion. They also cause increased catecholamine effects, and they have mainly the effect. They have an effect on development and growth of CNS as well as skeletal system. Pharmacokinetics. So both these hormones T3 and T4 are well absorbed when given orally. The absorption is more when taken on empty stomach. The T-half of T4 is in healthy individuals is 6 to 7 days, and that of T3 is 1 to 2 days. These are shortened in hyperthyroidism and prolonged in hypothyroidism. The hormones are conjugated with sulfuric acid in the liver and are excreted in bile. So the available preparations of both the hormones in the market are T4 is available as thyroxine is available as T4 sodium in 25 micrograms, 50 micrograms, as well as 100 microgram tablets. And the dosage to be given is 0.05 to 0.2 milligrams. And levothyroxine sodium injection is available in 200 as well as 500 micrograms. And the dosage to be given in treatment of myxedema coma is 200 to 500 micrograms IV on first day, followed by 100 to 200 micrograms on second day. And levothyroxine sodium 200 microgram tablets available, and the dosage to be given as 20 micrograms 1 to 3 times per day. So T3 is not routinely used as it has rapid onset of action and may precipitate angina or cardiac failure, especially the elderly. So we have discussed in the previous slide that T3 is more potent and has got rapid onset of action. So this action sometimes may precipitate angina or cardiac failure. So this drug or this hormone has to be used judiciously in elderly patients or in patients who are having coronary artery disease. Adverse reactions of thyroid hormones. So they mainly cause hyperthyroidism. Just like any other drugs or any other hormones, even these have got adverse effects. And one of the adverse effects is hypothyroidism, which is an excessive production of thyroid hormone. So the symptoms of these hypothyroidism are weight loss, palpitations, and then tremors. The patient may have irritability, diarrhea, sleep problems, fine brittle hair, and then menstrual irregularities. The second condition is thyrotoxicosis crisis, otherwise called as thyroid storm. So this is a manifestation of severe hypermetabolic state due to very high levels of circulating thyroid hormone. So this is basically a emergency condition, medical emergency, wherein there is manifestation of severe hypermetabolic state due to very high levels of circulating thyroid hormone. So what happens in this condition is there is increased levels or high levels of circulating thyroid hormone, and this is a medical emergency and should be treated immediately. So this is characterized by hyperpyrexia, wherein the patient suffers with high-grade temperature. Patients have cardiac arrhythmias. Patients have nausea. They may sometimes even feel like vomitings, and patients have diarrhea as well as mental confusion. So this is generally precipitated by an underlying infection or caused by any trauma or any previous surgery. Patient has diabetic ketoacidosis and myocardial infarction. These are some of the conditions which precipitate thyrotoxicosis. Treatment: hospitalization. The patient should be hospitalized immediately. Support to care should be given to the patient. Cooling with blankets because the patient has got high grade temperature. The patient should be hydrated, sedate the patient, and treat for any infection. So propyl thiouracil, an antithyroid drug, is to be administered via a nasogastric tube. Oral iodoids to inhibit release of thyroid hormones, and then sodium hypodate inhibits the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. Propranolol can be given orally, or IV diltiazem can be used if propranolol is contraindicated. IV hydrocodone to be used because it inhibits the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. And apart from this, it also corrects adrenal insufficiency if present. So, drug interactions. Several drugs such as antacids, ciprofloxacin, phenytoin, carbamazepine, certain cations like iron, calcium, foods such as fibers and coffee may interfere with T4 absorption or its metabolism. So just like any other drug, even thyroid hormones have got drug interactions. Some antacids, some antibiotics like ciprofloxacin, phenytoin, and some cations like iron, calcium, and some fibers and coffee, they interfere with absorption or its metabolism. So these drugs are not to be administered. These hormones are not supposed to be administered with these drugs, and should not be given with foods and fibers or coffee because they interfere with the absorption or metabolism of thyroid hormones. Therapeutic uses. So these drugs are mainly used, these hormones are mainly used in the treatment of cretinism as well as myxedema coma. So cretinism is a condition wherein there is deficiency of thyroid hormones in children, resulting in cretinism. In adult, it results in myxedema. Myxedema coma, this is a medical emergency, usually common in long-standing, untreated myxedema cases. So basically, this myxedema coma is a medical emergency wherein there is long-standing, untreated myxedema cases. So how do you diagnose such a condition of myxedema coma? You have to look out for the clinical features. So what are the clinical features in a patient who has got myxedema coma? So he or she may present with hypothermia, may have bradycardia, oral effusion, pericardial effusion, with coma. And the definitive laboratory diagnosis, estimation of plasma levels of T3, T4, as well as TSH. And apart from this, estimation of specific thyroid antibodies have been very much useful in the diagnosis of myxedema coma. So how do you treat such a case of myxedema coma? Basically, we give levothyroxine IV if available. IV cortisone should be administered, removing the patient with blankets because the patient suffers with hypothermia. And then correction of electrolyte imbalance, mainly hyponatremia, ventilator support if the patient requires, and antibiotics to be given if there is any infection which causes or which is a precipitating cause for the condition. Endemic goiter. It is due to iodine deficiency and in diet. So this can be prevented by common salt, which we take in day-to-day life. So that concludes the class. But then before completing the class, let us brush through what all we have learned before. So as I've told you, thyroid gland, it has got two lobules, the right lobule and the left lobule, which is interconnected by isthmus. It weighs nearly 15 to 20 grams, 25 grams. It is one of the important endocrine gland in the body. Nearly 400 to 600 ml per mg per minute of blood is supplied to this organ, and it has got follicles and follicular cells as well as parafollicular cells. So these follicular cells, they are mainly responsible for the synthesis of thyroid hormones, namely T3 and T4. And then coming to the synthesis, mainly it undergoes 5 steps: iodine trapping, then iodine binding and oxidation, then coupling, hormones, synthesis and release, then peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. And then you have mechanism of action, pharmacological actions, and then regulation of release of thyroid hormone, that is negative feedback mechanism. Whenever there is fall in T4 or T3 levels, this stimulates TSH secretion from the antral pituitary. But all there is a rise in T4 or T3 levels, this inhibits TSH secretion. This is called as negative feedback mechanism. And then what are the adverse effects of these drugs or hormones? They cause mainly hyperthyroidism, thyrotoxicosis. And they're mainly used in the treatment of cretinism, myxedema coma, as well as endemic goiter. That concludes the class. Thank you.